Hello, this video is to explain the major biodiversity assignment that we're going to be doing in here now that the AP test is over. Information that you need to know about, it says that this project involves construction of a digital photography collection, so it's kind of like a scavenger hunt, and then it's organized into taxonomic groups of organisms. We will be spending a bunch of days outside, I don't know a bunch, but several at least days outside over the rest of the year in order to focus on collection of these different groups of organisms using camera pictures. So all organisms in your collection, it says, must be photographed. Let me fix that. Must be photographed by you and your partner. As evidence that these photos are originals, you also need to add a trinket, and it should have the year, oops, this should say 2016 on it. Photoshop may not be used, nor can you use any images that you find on Google Images or anything like that. It actually has to be things that you have seen starting today. They also need to be organisms that you find in the natural environment, but a natural environment is anywhere, outside, like your backyard, even the parking lot at Pick and Save. You certainly can go to, Muskego County Park, or you can go to Engel, places like that to look for some of these things. But zoo organisms or pet store organisms are not permissible, so these should be organisms that are living in the wild in Wisconsin. So yeah, and also you can't use any pictures from, when you went down to Florida and you've got these pictures of manatees. It needs to be, starting today. So the format, these photos need to be arranged in a presentation format. Now, last year I had students use Prezi, and everybody except one group used Prezi last year, and it worked okay. I'll show you an example of a Prezi here. Where's the Prezi? Oh, I got to exit annotation mode. Make this stuff go away. Okay. So I need... Okay, here is a Prezi. So this Prezi is one that Allison Cole and Anna Lee made last year, and it has the different groups of organisms that you have to find, and you can just click through it. Now you guys will probably be finding some of the same things as them, but also some different things than them. So we start out with the protist section. You're going to be taking pictures in the microscope for that, so you don't need any trinkets for that section. You also will find in here, when we're looking underneath the microscopes, you'll find some animals too that you're going to be able to use in the animal section. And so you're going to want to have your camera at the ready when we start looking at what we find in the pond water. There's a section on plants and fungi. You do need to include some information on their classification. Like here they have indicated like the specific class and family of each one of them. And then you also need to have some niche information. They clustered them here, and for this particular grouping, I guess I'm okay with that, because it would have been the same on all of their separate slides if they had done it like that. But you have to provide information on them too, so kind of a little bit like a baseball card type of information where you've got the picture on one side and on the other side you've got some stats, you've got some information about it, although we're doing it in this presentation format here. And then it continues, and so you would zoom to the next organisms and so on. So this is something that you certainly can do using Prezi if you're comfortable with using Prezi. The one drawback that my students kind of found last year is that this presentation is a little bit big for a Prezi. Prezi, I don't know, it's not really meant to be presentations that are so big. But nevertheless, that can be done and it can be used, and this group did a very good job and it had success. But another option, if you are somebody that is would rather try this new option this year, would be to make videos. Now these videos can be used, I kind of recommending Screencastify. That's one that I know Mr. Bosch uses in his classes quite a bit. But if you're better with a different kind of video producing program where you can have an image and you can tell me verbally the information that's there, you do have to include your classification, and all the stuff still needs to be presented, but it could be done in a video. But then because I want to be able to grade this big assignment in parts or chunks, then I'm going to ask you to put your videos and the links to them on Symbaloo or another warehousing site so that I can just have one like source of information, and I can like click on buttons to get to your different parts of your video. So there may be other things that you may know about technology-wise that you think would work well for a presentation format. However, if you do choose to use a different presentation format, you will be graded against the Prezi/Screencastify, these two suggestions that I have. You can be graded against that standard. PowerPoint is not going to get you full credit here, so I'm going to discourage you from using PowerPoint. Last paragraph here before we get to the specific requirements is that also included with the identification of the organisms, you figure out what it is. But then you also need to include a description of the niche of the animal, and there definitely will be days that we'll be working on this presentation in class. Make sure you've got your photos available. So if you know, they're on your phones, make sure that you email them to yourself so that you've got them available. Okay, so this assignment is going to have some different parts to it. It's going to have a protist section. That's going to be the first part that we're going to be working on. And notice that there are specific requirements that I'm going to be looking for. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You have to have at least 3 kingdoms. You have to have at least 6 species that fall into this class, or into this, I guess it's kingdom protista. You have to have 6 species. Because this is microscope work, no trinket is needed, but you should try to get a close-up, the highest magnification possible, so that you can really show me that you understand what organism it is. Then we'll be looking at some of these other ones and going through some of these different parts of it together. So the rubric is down below. So last thing to take a look at would be the rubric. Oh, now I'm on the, okay, the rubric is on the one that is on Google Classroom, or on the, in my drive. Okay. Oh, one of the things that part 4 and part 5 are going to go together, the insects and the birds. So you're going to have some choice. One of the two you have to really do a concentration on, and we're going to call that a max part, and the other one you can do mini. So you have a choice between those two. If you don't like insects, maybe you want to do that one mini and then do the birds max. If you have trouble finding the birds, insects are kind of easier to find, maybe then you want to do the birds mini and the insects max, excuse me. All right, so grading. This project will be broken into 4 separate parts with separate due dates and grades. So I can't be grading this all at the end of the year, so you have to break it up. So notice the points on here that it's basically a point per organism. Okay, so you've got in the protist section 6 organisms, 6 points, but you have to have them properly identified. A half point for each one of them for the description of their niche, and then some points for the presentation quality. And then the same thing would go for the other ones as well. Notice I do have insects and birds combined. That section is going to be turned in as a unit and graded as a unit, but that's the section where you're going to be doing the mini and max piece of it, so that's why they're going to be graded together. One of the two will be done mini and the other one will be done max, so that's why insects and birds are together. I think that's all I have to tell you guys about directions. This is, I think, a very fun and very cool assignment. Students put together some pretty nice presentations last year. And I'm sure that we're going to find some interesting, maybe some different organisms than what we found last year too, this year. So I'm looking forward to doing this. If you have any questions, please let me know.